charges, and they score!
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Man About Town. We are a production of 321 Media, and we are broadcasting from very hot, humid downtown Westerly, Rhode Island. Our producer du jour is Andrew Fiore. He was not here last week because, being a very intelligent producer, 105 degrees wasn't hot enough, so he went to Florida.
And I'm only 4 minutes late this time, so I'm almost adjusting back to New England.
About to where you were.
Pace of
Yeah.
life.
And wearing a Frasier shirt, I see. Okay.
Love that
That's a
show.
great
Where
show.
in Florida were you?
Fort Myers Beach.
Ah, and it was cooler than 105.
It was actually pretty rainy. That did a lot of it. We got a lot of thunderstorms, but in Florida you can have a thunderstorm and then 20 minutes later it's sunny again.
That's
Yes.
true.
Oh, you can get that here.
Yeah. And you could also get snow the next day.
That is true.
I am here with a whole bunch of Kiss Me Caters. I have been hearing about this since last year. I am so happy it's opening Friday because I'm sick of hearing about it. You've been here more times than anybody else. You were here on Monday. You had what's his name with you on Monday. And actually, I'm very happy for all of you that you are opening this great musical that actually premiered, I think, before I was born in the 40s.
1948.
Yeah, I mean, these things
Written in
don't.
48,
they-
not produced on Broadway till 53.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
So the setting is 48. But thank you. Because I
I'm
I kept
sorry.
saying, no, I appreciate that because the entire rehearsal process, I've been like, it's a 50s, it's a 50s this, it's a 50s that. And then I went and saw like the top of the script. It's like setting Baltimore Theater, 1948. And I was like, what?
Most of the songs were written during the late 40s. Brush Up Your Shakespeare was not written until 52.
Wow.
And is a great song.
Just-
I mean, it is
Sorry.
maybe the best song in the show.
No, I think when you start your second act with It's Too Darn Hot,
I know.
everybody's
Oh my
going to be singing along with you because you just got it perfectly. Anyway, let's introduce the players like you need an introduction. Nicole DeMattei, who is the artistic director of The Granite, is on my left. Next to her is Cal Lord, who is man number 2, or however we call him.
Second man.
Second man. Yeah, not the best man, second man. We'll get into that.
The best man is over there.
I was going to say, and the pain in the ass on my right, who was taking over the show, is Mark. Do we pronounce your last name Bernier or Bernier?
Bernier is perfectly fine. It's one of those names that there's no correct way to pronounce.
Uh-huh.
It depends.
So we'll
on where
leave
you
your name
come
on
from.
the back, Bernier. Okay.
Bernier.
If
Bernier.
DJ Gadget were here, she would have said that. She loves puns.
Your New England high school French would say Bernier.
Well, I
Yes.
went to high school in New Jersey.
Okay.
They would have said burner or something like that. Anyway, this is really your show. We'll start with Nicole because this is the last whistle. This is Tech Week,
This
isn't
is
it?
Tech Week.
Explain for people who don't get it, who
What
don't
Tech
know
Week is?
all the parts that have to come together in any show.
Yeah, so we spend like 3 months rehearsing, and then you have a week to be like, oh, right, there's a lot more show than just the actors. So we do lights, we do sound, we do the set,
Make sure the costumes fit.
costumes,
Actors
props,
aren't
yeah.
tripping over those
Well,
little open gowns.
yes,
Uh-oh, be quiet on
exactly.
that one.
Oh.
Yeah, we did have a minor spill last night.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but she's fine. She's fine.
I just saw one of your Granite report that you do every Monday that I love. And I saw one of the
Oh.
actresses in the
Isn't that beautiful?
Elizabethan type gown. And I thought, oh, they are so hot
I know.
to wear and so long and heavy. And
Mariah, who plays Lily slash Kate,
Right.
and Liza, who plays
Bianca.
Bianca slash Lois, right?
Yeah.
Both of their costumes have to be about 20 pounds.
Oof.
Yeah. So it's really impressive.
Hopefully, when they're in those costumes, they're wearing flats. They're not wearing stiletto heels.
Well, I mean, they're wearing character shoes, so they
Oh.
are wearing
Well,
heels.
character shoes, they usually have a strap.
Yeah,
something
they
to
are.
hold
They
them.
are definitely holding on. They're they're theater shoes. But it is no, it's impressive. They're so beautiful though. Oh my gosh. Last night was the first time we had all the costumes on stage and the lights, and the 6 ensemble girls were all standing next to each other. And when I was designing the show, I was very interested in colors because there's just so much you can do and so much you could just make it kind of messy, right?
Right.
And so I have all the girls in like these blues and greens and purples and whites, and they just looked so gorgeous standing next to each other. And I was like, oh, they're so beautiful. And then like the family is in one color, and it's the costumes are gorgeous, the lights are gorgeous, the set is gorgeous.
And you're about sold out.
Our opening night has 3 tickets left.
Wow.
Which is really exciting.
Opening night being this Friday. The 11th.
Yeah. There's 1 pair left. If anyone's looking to bring a date out, there are 2 seats next to each other, which is like that never
But there
happens.
are no Baptists allowed on Friday. They're all coming Saturday.
At least
That's
one
what Cal
Baptist.
tells me.
There's at least one Baptist coming.
This is
You have-
Central Baptist night is
okay.
on
The one
Saturday.
feels she has
The
to
one
come.
who's looking for your
Aw.
glasses.
Yeah.
She won't
Okay.
recognize me.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited because I struggle with this getting people into opening night or opening weekend, because a lot of people are this wait and see kind of.
Well, I
Let's
saw
see how the
your
reviews come.
5
Did you like my 5
reasons.
things?
And you know what? They make sense. They all do.
you.
One of them was a little pushy, but
Yeah.
4 of them made a lot. They really do make a lot of sense
Yeah.
because that's when energy's high. I mean, you can look at it 2 ways. You can also think, well, if they make mistakes, they'll make them and get them over with. I'm coming the second weekend, or you're
Yeah.
doing this for 4 weekends.
4
aren't
weekends,
you?
yeah.
This
We
is
did
a
Drowsy Chaperone
biggie.
for 4 weekends last year. And it so much. Shows are expensive.
Oh, yes,
and
they are.
and a lot of our costs are upfront, right? It's these costumes, it's the props, it's
the rights,
the
paying them for the rights.
well, yeah, but the rights aren't an upfront cost, unfortunately. They're a per show cost. But the set, like so much of these costs are upfront for us. So having the longer runs actually makes more sense in the long run. The more people we can get in, the more we can pay back the money that we put into it. But then it's hard. I don't want 50% sold houses, right? I want our actors deserve full houses, and that's kind of this like weird balance I've been doing this year with, some shows only had 2 weeks, but they had full houses, which is great, but we didn't necessarily make money back, right? This one, Kiss Me Kate, it's a summer, it's a summer
the best
classic musical.
advertising in the world, though, is word of mouth.
I know.
And it can help you and it can kill you.
But
And if this show is as good as you say, and I'm sure it is, because that's all Cal talks about at Rotary, I am sure that when people start talking, and this is a very small, very insular community, very incestuous community, you're going to get plenty of people in.
I
And
absolutely
it's
think so.
also nice and light to have a musical in the summer.
Yeah, and it's funny, it's
And
beautiful.
people
The
don't
music
realize
is
how many of
beautiful.
those songs they
They know.
probably know.
right. Like literally, Anthony, my best friend, this morning, we had a meeting and he was like, "What songs do I know from the show?" And I'm like, "Another open in another show." He's like, "Oh right, yeah." I was like,
Yep.
"Too darn hot." Yep. Brush up your Shakespeare.
Always
Yep.
be true to you in
Always
my
true to
fashion.
you in my fashion,
Yep, I've
right?
known that forever.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I
You
mean,
lived it, right? No.
Yeah. Thank you.
so yeah, I mean, it's Cole
We're gonna
Porter.
do
It's
some with
great.
him.
Cole
I-
Porter.
it's
It's
Cole Porter.
classic American
Right?
song back
It
then.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
And
I was going to
so-
say I want to start with Mark. Well, we'll get to
because you know Cal.
because
I'm good.
I've heard everything he said so many, but we are going to get to him. Tell me how you came about auditioning for this. Have you auditioned for other Granite shows?
This will be my third Granite show.
Okay.
I had worked with Nicole at 12th Night at
Ah.
the Chorus of Westerly this,
And you
this
came back
past
for
winter.
more.
And when I heard
Good.
she was doing Kiss Me Kate, I asked her if I could play one of the gangsters.
Yeah.
I've wanted to play this role since I was like 14 years old.
He did. Cal did pretty much.
And yeah, I was a technician when I was in high school. There was a summer stock company in the town I grew up in Connecticut, and
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Clinton, Connecticut,
Oh, Clinton.
not far from here.
Oh,
you know.
I know Clinton very well.
Right. I grew up in Clinton, Connecticut, which at the time the school had a brilliant theater program, and we also had a very prolific summer stock company in town for somebody who graduated Morgan High School, went to Hofstra University, and he would bring college friends back to Clinton for the summer. And they'd
Mm.
put on 5 or 6 shows over the course of the summer. And one of the shows they did was Kiss Me Kate. And there are a handful of those 30 shows that I worked on that there's a role in each one of those shows that
And
someday
you never
I'll
got
do.
to do the role?
I was a technician when I was in high school. As an adult, I became a folk. I didn't go into theater, although I thought I would, and the need to make a living and whatnot. I ended up doing other things. But I've supplemented my income for the past 30, 40 years as a folk musician. And every now and then there's a show that comes up, and this will be the third show that I've auditioned for. That
Were you in
So
the
you're saying you
first one?
always cast?
Actually, not always cast. I did audition for you once that I
Oh,
wasn't
that is
cast.
true. That is true.
I did so.
You know, that was-
No
I
regrets
I
here.
don't
We
have
can't
I
talk
don't
about
have
that.
100% success by any means.
I don't think anybody
Well,
does.
no, but that was a hard decision. I will tell you, that was a hard decision. It was for
I-
Santa,
Yeah.
and Lou walked in.
At the time, I
Yeah.
had a
And-
beard like this, but
Yeah.
it's not really a white beard. You know, and I wasn't sure that I really.
Have you ever
visibly-
heard the word Clairol?
Yeah.
Yes.
There were several factors. I personally did not think I was the best.
Well, she didn't either, apparently.
Yeah.
No, I will tell. It was a hard decision, especially because, like Lou, I had to work with Lou a little bit, but when Lou smiled, he was Santa,
He
and
had
that
twinkle.
yeah, he
He
had
had
the
that
twinkle.
twinkle.
Yeah, but I will tell you, in the show last night, I'm on the headset, and I was like. He looks like the Santa from The Year Without a Santa Claus. You know when he's going in the suit,
Sure.
right? I was
Yeah.
like, that's who it is. So you definitely still have a twinkle. But so
That's good to know.
I love so Mark reached out to me, and he was like, there's something else I might be doing this summer. You were like, do you precast? Like, and I said, no, we don't, but I still think you should absolutely audition for this role. And what was great was that, I want to make sure we don't precast, because that means that everyone feels like they have a shot, right? But, Mark had reached out to me about this role. Cal had said it in passing, like, I might
know.
audition for this. I
About
might audition.
6 times she said it. I heard that. I
And-
heard. Yeah, I did this in high school. Yeah.
So in my head, I had some of the show, okay,
Precast.
these would be great options. So someone else has to knock them out,
Yep.
And what was great is I was able to get them in an audition together, had them read together, and then it
that's
just
right.
yeah,
Was
it just-
there
Audition
chemistry
together.
right
Yeah.
from the beginning?
right from the beginning. And so that
I'm a good follower. He's a good leader.
you get to take a step back from your normal
Right.
but so that was I appreciate when people reach out to me and say, I am really interested in this, do you think I could be right for it? Knowing full well that I'm not pre-casting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
So-
true.
So
All
I-
right.
and he didn't sign up to audition. So I had to reach out to him and I had to be like, Mark, auditions are this weekend. Are you coming out? Because in my head,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of you. And so I am very glad that
So
he
you played
didn't.
hard to get.
Yeah, that's
It
what
wasn't
was.
so much that. No, honestly, it wasn't so much that. I've got a nasty work etiquette, and by the time auditions came around, I had booked other performances. I played a wedding last weekend, and
A folk wedding? Wow.
and oh, I could. But,
Another show.
but it was just like, wow, I can't make all the rehearsals, and honestly, I wasn't going to audition because I couldn't make all the rehearsals. And you said, "Are you going to audition?" I went, "Okay. Well, if she's still thinking about me, I'm coming to audition."
And you got it.
You got it.
Yeah, and yeah.
All right. So my final question for right now to you is, what's it like working with Cal Lord? For real, not what you want him to hear.
What a gentleman! Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Brilliant sense of humor. Yeah. No. I'm enjoying working with Cal. I feel I may be a little bit rough around the edges.
We are playing
to be sharing companionship with the
man
with
number
a man
one.
of such esteem here in town.
Uh,
But
Somebody's
For-
been telling me
for-
the line.
For those of you who don't live in town and don't know Cal Lord, because you may be listening or watching from wherever, he is the pastor of Central Baptist Church. And I think that's what all this is about. And after we get off the air, you have to tell Cal how many people were watching. He was asking me that ahead of time, and I told him that Ben does have the ability to do that and tell you where they're all coming from too. Okay, so number 2. And is that how they are written in the program?
They're written
that way?
They are written in the program as first man,
Yeah,
second man, which
yeah.
is hilarious. And I get it. And before the show was known, it could be you might not want to let on what happens in the show. So they don't, I absolutely sit through the program and think about Javert's soliloquy, right? Or
Right.
like in Les Mis, they don't call it his suicide because
Right.
you would look in the program and be like, whoa, that happens.
Mhm.
So I think that is why they are named first man, second man, but it is hilarious because at this point everyone knows what they are.
Okay. And what kind of grief did you get from your parishioners that you are playing a gangster?
Well, I haven't.
Or did
really-
you say
I-
it's
I-
just a role?
I haven't had really a lot of feedback, but as we have,
You will.
we have been. I say it's a comedy. I have a small part with a big song, and it's it's a very great play, and we provide comic relief. But one of the things that's very interesting is one of my lines in the play is it's been very educational. And so Mark and others have pointed out some of the puns and some of the hidden innuendos and meaning. And I say, oh. So, there are some things in there that I didn't really think about, but, maybe other people won't think about them either, But it really is. It's classic musical in the sense of you have these two people have a relationship and then things get really bad. And then all of a sudden, well, I don't want to give away the ending, but it's a typical musical. And then there's all these characters and these little stories going on and again, great music. I just love some of the songs I remember from years ago that just stick with me, and that's cool.
I remember so much of the music, and I think it's so great. Why don't you give as much of the plot as you can give, especially the fact that it is mirroring Shakespeare, because I have had to tell DJ Gadget, I don't know how many times, she says, I hate Shakespeare. I hate it. I hate it.
Gosh.
And I say, you're not watching a Shakespeare play. You're watching sort of a play within a play. You'll get it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, there are
But
only
this isn't one of the Shakespeare plays that's very often done.
Taming of the Shrew.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
It's a
I mean,
violent show.
oh my gosh. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't really understand how violent it was. I got to tell you, doing Kiss Me Kate has made me, well, I said a few times now, like, Kiss Me Kate is the first show that I've done at the Granite, that I've directed at the Granite, that I didn't know before. So I didn't personally, I haven't personally been in or done in some way. So this was like a brand new learning curve for me.
Is that why Elias came in a couple
Oh,
of
I
weeks
mean,
ago?
I will be the first one to admit I am not Shakespeare. Like, I do not produce Shakespeare. I do not direct Shakespeare. I do not act in Shakespeare. It has its place, but it's not my cup of tea. And so Elias has the experience. So why not? Why not invite
Exactly.
one of our community to come in and teach my cast members about something I'm admittedly not good at. And so, but I only knew Taming of the Shrew from, 10 Things I Hate About You, right? The adaptations of it in like high school rom-coms. But wow, it hurts. It hurts how violent and how misogynistic it is. And so, like, it's been a real fun experience for me to find ways to lighten it up or to like find this depth. And thank goodness we have the framing story of Kiss Me Kate, because if you just watch Taming of the Shrew, you do not leave happy as a woman at all. Or most men. Like, it is a thing. So but Kiss Me Kate is the story of,
It has a happy
it's
ending.
yes,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
Kiss Me Kate,
Kiss Me Kate has a happy ending.
That's why people
Yeah.
love musicals.
Yes, musical comedy. So Kiss Me Kate is a recently divorced couple. They've been divorced for a year, are brought back together to do an adaptation of Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew. It's a musical called Shrew, and this is their first stop on the tour. And
Is this we open in Venice, we next play Verona?
yeah, so that's actually in Shrew. Where
Okay.
Another Open in Another Show is the opening to the musical. It is the
Right.
ensemble being like, look at this stage. And that's been a lot of fun. Like being like, imagine yourselves on a Broadway stage. Like that is this feeling of like, whoa, this is amazing. But
It's
yes.
kind of like Comedy Tonight.
Yeah. Oh,
That opening number.
yes,
Letting you know who
exactly.
the characters are. And
Yeah.
yeah.
That is what we open in Venice. Yes. I love Forum. Great show. But the what I think is funny is that Kate or Lily and Fred was actually written based on Lunton Fontaine, which is a famous
really?
theater. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were.
I didn't know it was.
They had a tumultuous relationship.
Huh.
And they were the inspiration for those two characters. And it is a tumultuous relationship. They take these parts of Shrew and that might be rough, and then blow them up because they're fighting in real life. So we're able to take that and make it comedic, you
Good.
know, and then you see them yelling at each other backstage. And then, well, there's a whole thing with
Yeah.
first man and second man because money might be owed. So,
Money might be owed.
Some people have bad habits.
but yeah, and then just classic 1940s, 50s musical theater. Wonderful.
Which I think
side
is great because I don't
characters.
know that anybody's done that forever here.
Right? Like, yeah.
And you like something light in the summer. You know, you've got our local people, but you also have out of towners who are here going out. They just want to have a good time.
Yeah.
And they don't want wit.
They don't want to think too hard. I get it.
I know. I mean, that's a show I just would love to do, but
Yes.
that's not a summer show, and
Not
it's
a- not-
certainly not a musical. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were about to say, I heard you intake your breath for a moment.
sorry to interrupt.
Not
No,
at
you're
all.
not. You are
Actually,
not.
in all fairness, shortly after I bought my house in Westerly, I saw a production of Kiss Me Kate here at the Granite.
Really?
Yeah.
You did.
Um,
Now, what year would that have been?
I'm thinking it's around 2000.
So
And-
I think it was the Colonial. I
It-
do
it-
believe
okay.
that the Colonial did do
Okay,
Kiss Me Kate.
and the woman who directed it was, and I can't for the life of me remember her name right now, but was the woman that directed Superstar here 10 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, and she sang Too Darn Hot.
Too darn hot.
Too
Well,
darn
so
hot.
that so not knowing the musical, I only knew the movie, which I love, right? But
I didn't know
Oh,
there
with
was a
Spencer
movie of it.
Tracy and
Ann Miller.
and Howard Keel.
Sure, I know Ann Miller because she's the dancer.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And in the movie, she sang "Too Darn Hot." So
she sang Too Darn Hot, and Bob Fosse is one of the three suitors in the movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Great
And you
movie.
can see, that's going to be something great someday. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Oh.
last time I saw Kiss Me Kate, which might have been the only time, it was at the Schubert in New Haven. And it was a tour. It was I don't know if it was an equity tour or just a national tour, non-equity, but it was very good. But that was probably around the same time you're talking about, around about 25 years ago.
Yeah, 25 years ago,
Yeah.
around about that time.
Did you enjoy it when you saw it? You can reserve.
I love the theater.
That's a great
I
answer,
will-
Mark.
I will sit.
We're going to be breaking very shortly.
Rare
For the
in
diplomat.
my life has been the occasion that I've left a production and not been satisfied in one form or another.
Ooh, are we opposites?
I can name two shows that I've left.
Hmm. Okay,
One of which was on Broadway.
Wow.
Well, I'll leave it at that.
well,
I've seen better high school productions.
You can
than
tell
this
us
show
during
that
the
I've
break. We are with a portion of the cast and tech and director and choreographer of Kiss Me Kate, which is opening this Friday at 7:30
Mhm.
at the Granite right up the street. I realize you folks that are watching from other parts of the world, you're
No,
seeing
no, we are.
downtown, you're seeing into Connecticut, but it's that way. We are going to take a short break. We are going to honor the people that help make all this possible. Our local businesses, merchants, associations. This is Man About Town, and we'll be back shortly.
D&V Mechanical specializes in the installation, maintenance, and servicing of Mitsubishi ductless mini-split heat pump systems. We are certified by Mitsubishi as Diamond Elite Contractors and factory trained and up to date on the proper procedure of the installation and service of Mitsubishi ductless heating and air conditioning ductless heat pumps. We assist with the paperwork to reduce much of the stress-related documentation required to get the state rebates and federal tax incentives. We are not a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-nothing company. We are masters of ductless heat pumps. It's what we do, and it's what we know.
What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick down here at the Wireless Zone at Dunn's Corners at 224 Post Road, and everybody down here is getting the brand new iPhone 16. We have it here in stock. The best part is right now, if you trade in your old phone, you get it for free. We got deals all weekend, awesome savings. Come on down and see us, 224 Post Road, Dunn's Corners, Verizon Wireless Zone. We'll see you soon.
Hi, this is Dan from Lathrop Insurance. In this challenging insurance environment, Lathrop Insurance can be your beacon in the storm to help you find the coverage you need at the right price. Now, more than ever, you need a partner in the insurance industry that can work with multiple carriers to make sure you have the right coverage at the right price. Lathrop Insurance carries home, auto, and business insurance and can be reached at 401-596-2525. We've been supporting the local community since 1939, and we look forward to working with you.
Experience local excellence with Roof Right Roofing in Charlestown, Rhode Island. With over 40 years of unmatched expertise, Roof Right specializes in architectural shingles and holds the prestigious title of GAF Master Elite Installers. Known for their commitment to the community and support for local initiatives, Roof Right is your trusted partner for all of your home's roofing needs. Call today for a free estimate at 401-212-4140.
Hi, I'm Chris Kozłowski, owner of Broadview Florist and Garden Center in Dunn's Corners. For over 40 years, our family-owned business has been your go-to destination for beautiful, custom-made floral arrangements. Whether it's a special event or just to brighten up your day, we create highest quality designs tailored just for you. Trust Broadview Florists to make every moment unforgettable. Visit us today or give us a call at 401-322-0390.
Let's all go to the beach. I wanna go to the beach. Cold weather sucks, let's get some relief. I'm telling you it's well within our reach. Take me to the beach today.
And we're back, and boy, did I hear a lot of dirt when you were all going to the bathroom or opening your gray sales or whatever you were doing.
Gray sales.
But we are back with, they think they're the entire cast of Kiss Me Kate, and which is actually good, because if everybody in a show thinks that, I mean, there are no small
There's no
parts,
small
only
parts.
small actors.
This
And-
really is a great company. We're all it's a nice company to
For
work.
You're what, about 24
there's 19
people?
There's
19?
19 people. It is
Wow.
wonderful. There's not a bad egg in the group.
No, they're
That's
all good,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
You hear all
spectacular.
those stories sometimes, and you've experienced it in plays where someone is, they think they're better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes they're hard to work with, but everyone here, from the lead characters to the folks who are kind of in the ensemble, everyone, and they're also polite. And well, maybe they're not, but at least they pretend to be.
Well, they don't
No,
move
no.
when Mark's trying to get off stage,
There you
he
go.
said,
They're polite to you, Cal.
because they're scared of him.
Yeah, right.
He's got a direct line upstairs. So, Nicole, this is Tech Week. Explain again, because I don't think we got into all how serious this is. I know that when you go to an audition, I just got a notice from the Arctic Playhouse, and they'll tell you about a show, and then they'll say, try to make most of the rehearsals, but Tech Week's for everybody. No exceptions, no nothing.
Well, so that's interesting because I don't do that. I don't set the schedule ahead of time, even though Mark apparently thought I did. I go off of people's availability. And yeah, sure, sometimes, there were plenty of times where Cal had given me his conflicts, and I would put on the calendar like, okay, we have to have a rehearsal this day, but Cal is not available. And Cal made the decision to make, I'm fairly certain, all of those conflicts work. But
But he also, I mean, if there's a fire and you don't know that
he has
that's
to-
going to happen.
But
I
I
mean-
wouldn't go. But there are some things. So one of the things I said at church, because again, a lot of my stuff is at night with meetings and worship services and whatnot. So I just said, I'm setting aside this period of time, and can we cover whatnot? And the folks at church were very gracious with it, because they know that this is kind of part of my fun outreach things that I do on the side, other than just
This is
being
your
the preacher
side
man.
gig.
Yeah.
Right.
As my wife would say, one of many. But I'm not able to do this that often, and I haven't really said to them, "Oh, I wanted to." I suppose if every show I went out for and got every other show, and it was 3 or 4 times a year, it'd be different. But they understand, because everybody has things that they do that is their passion. They go boating, or they go fishing, or they go hunting, or they
And
go
people need
something.
that. You
Yeah,
do need a
yeah,
release in
yeah,
your life.
yeah.
You need
So,
something else.
But I want to make sure not to pigeonhole people. Like, rehearsals are on Tuesdays and I absolutely can't do Tuesdays, so I can't do this show. Well, that's unfair,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So I wait until I cast the show. And at auditions, I ask for everyone's conflicts. And obviously, if someone is only available Saturdays from 3 to 7, they're not going
Yeah.
to get cast, right? But
Right.
if there is flexibility in there, and they're like, I can absolutely make shows work against this, and I will. Tech Week is very important. I will say it is hard to miss someone on Tech Week, but I gave them off on Monday night because the happiness of my actors and crew is more important, right?
Well, if they're happy and comfortable, you're going to get a lot out
exactly.
of them.
For
Exactly.
instance, tech rehearsals started this past weekend. I play in a marching band. I said, look, I'm marching parades all 4th of July weekend. I'm here for the rest of Tech Week, but I can't be there. I managed to adjust my schedule.
He did. But I was shocked to see you on Saturday.
And I was tired. I wasn't very sharp. I wasn't very sharp. But right. Full disclosure, look, I can do this. I'll give you that week. However, the weekend before, I cannot be there.
And it was more important to me that he be in the show, and I make it work. And I didn't even have to make it work. He showed up, but he wouldn't have showed up if I wasn't respectful to his wishes, right? If he had the option to not come to rehearsal, Cal had the option to not come to rehearsal. I excused them, but they wanted to be there. And that is what I'm doing.
That says
once
a
again,
lot.
it's that kind of company. I think we're all approaching it like that. I really do. I don't get any prima donnas or egos in this group whatsoever. And I've worked with some.
But it is honestly amazing for 19 people to get along that well. And that's not including, me, Patrick, Sarah, right? Like it's a huge amount of people to be laughing as much as we do. We stopped rehearsal last night when Cal and Mark walked on stage in one of the scenes. We stopped rehearsal, had to hold, because no one could keep it together with their costumes.
I see.
It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good
because
show.
we were so good looking. We had our makeup on, and
Neither one of us is that good looking.
You even asked me, "Do you like my face?" And I had to be honest. I said no.
It is a line in the show.
They're not wearing Shakespearean costumes.
I'm not telling you, Rona.
No.
You will find out on Friday.
No, I'll find out on Saturday.
Oh, on Saturday.
I'm with the
Sorry, you're with the
Baptists,
Baptists. But
Baptists don't they go under the water when they get baptized?
Yeah.
Doesn't everyone go under the water?
No.
No, they
Catholics, they
do.
dribble it over your
Yeah.
forehead.
I thought it depended on age. Like,
well, that's true. My friend Father Frank told me that the method that is most preferred in the Roman Catholic Church, as well as others, is adult baptism. But for practical purposes, very often baptism is done at an early age for children.
Catholics do adult baptisms?
Well, that's what Father Frank.
Wow, I've never been to one.
Well,
you
know what?
But then again, it's been a minute since
I would tell you, if you went up to St.
That's
Pius
right,
and you
you know.
said, Father Daniel, I'd like to be baptized, he would baptize you. Maybe.
Actually, yeah. If you're marrying
I've
into the
lost
church,
control of it.
Now we are talking about baptism.
I know it was my fault.
It's better than the show on Monday when before Nicole's trying to talk about Kiss Me Kate.
He goes off on the producers and theater. We love it. But so your point about tech, it is that is when the show comes together. Like they said last night, or they said even just now that people were in their way trying to get off. Well, it's the first time that we've really put the show together. So you're seeing where everyone is standing backstage. Everyone's like ready for their next scene, but they don't actually know when it is, right? Because we've been working with this scene, this scene, this scene. Now we're putting it all together. So, and we're worrying about costume changes. And that was another thing we learned last night was, oh, I can't run downstairs to put on my costume because that next scene is actually very soon.
Right.
So in that sense, you really do need the actors there. Right?
I've got to ask a choreography question.
Please.
Because when and it is so clear in my mind, but I'm saying it had to be 20 or 25 years ago that I saw this at the Schubert in New Haven. And the second act opens with Too Darn Hot. And I'm saying, this has to be one of the longest dance numbers I have ever seen.
Take a guess.
You are a
Take
choreographer. I don't know, 14 minutes?
No, it's 7. It is 7.
7?
It is 7 full minutes. And I got to tell you, the actual song part is 1.5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So two things on that. At the Granite, I have never gotten the privilege to choreograph a number like this because I don't generally get dancers. We have tremendous singers, tremendous actors, but in general, I'm limited on dancers and ensemble dancers, right? I'll have 1 or 2, but you can't really do what you need to do with that.
Right.
I had a good group of dancers come in for the show. And so I have, yes, Cal, is this you?
No, it's not me.
No.
It is the fire truck. It's Westerly. Do you need to go?
Cal is the chaplain. That's what we're talking about for the fire department.
For everyone who doesn't know about Cal. And so this was a ton of fun for me to get to
get real dancers.
And to create a story, a 7-minute story out of dance, right? My absolute favorite thing is if you're looking at, it's in the music. And so the song is called Too Darn Hot. They are hot. That is the whole point. It is 100 degrees in Baltimore and everyone is hot. There's no air conditioning. They're wearing these giant dresses. So they have stripped down and they're all just hot and it's intermission. And they're singing about how they don't want to snuggle up with their their partners because it's hot. But the oh gosh, where was I going with this story? But in the music it says we have to assume that it's never too hot to dance, and I just love that so much. But I have tapping in there, like with actual tap shoes, and they go and quickly change and come back. And there's partner dancing, there's jumps. It is so fun.
You know, it reminds me a little bit, and I know it's not like it exactly, but like in West Side Story, you know, the way the groups come together, and then they do their little face, and so it really is cool. I know that it was probably in your mind very challenging getting everybody together at the beginning, but they've really done a nice job.
Yeah, it is hard because when you have words to choreograph to, you know the story, right? So you're telling the story through movement, and the most important part of it is the words and the music. And one of the things I hate the most is when things are over choreographed. It's not necessary, right? Don't just dance to dance. You have to tell the story. But this is we just want to dance.
This is traditionally a dance show.
Yeah. Yes,
right.
It is.
Traditionally, it was, you know. That's what the golden age of Broadway was doing.
Yep.
Right.
And I'll be honest.
It was ensembles in the golden age of Broadway.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't have too many. You didn't have the music, the mirror.
Yes.
You had,
No, this is
30
before that.
gorgeous
Right,
girls
right,
who
yeah.
were 5'10".
Right. Well, and as I actually explained to the girls, who are all tremendous dancers, but I've been trying to work with them on how to be an ensemble dancer, which is very different. And I explained that, the idea of a triple threat is a newer idea back in the day. And when Kiss Me Kate was on Broadway, if you look at the original cast, it's ensemble singers, ensemble dancers. They were
They
different.
couldn't do both.
Yeah,
like
and-
today.
And now we're asking
And the
one
leads
group-
did neither.
And exactly.
The leads did neither. Right.
So, like, I'm asking them to not only be tremendous singers, because these people can sing.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
My gosh. Yes. They sound amazing. This whole group sounds amazing. But to not only be dancers, but to be ensemble dancers and moving at the same time. We had a photographer come in last week. There's a part of the show when they part of Too Darn Hot where they jump. And they jump, it's in succession, and it happens 4 times.
Wow.
He took 3 pictures during those 4 times, and on the 3rd picture got one of them all in the air.
Everybody was in the
same
same
time.
exact spot in the air.
And he
Like 15 people.
Wow.
we stopped so he could show everyone, because he was like, I photograph dancers all the time. I can never get this. He's like, so you guys should be so impressed with yourselves. And
Wow.
it's wonderful. It
That's
is wonderful.
Jumping ahead, we've got 4 weeks of Kiss Me
4 weeks
Kate.
of Kiss Me Kate.
And then Dinner with Friends,
Then Dinner with Friends opens.
which is completely different.
September 12th. Yeah, it is completely different, which it's a wonderful
That's what
show.
made this season so good. You had so many
Something for
different
everyone,
things.
right?
Yeah.
But we have auditions for Rocky Horror this weekend. We are
Oh,
nonstop. Like Friday we open, Saturday we audition for Rocky. So
Oh, you're going to see some some strange people.
we have 50 people signed up to audition so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was I was volunteering for the chamber at their fusion event in May at the Velvet
That's where they like
Mill.
paint bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was a guy there, and he was waiting for his artist. She was stuck in traffic on I-95. So he and I were talking, and he was kind of looked like Andrew, but taller. But
Thank you.
I'm
Poor
sorry.
Andrew.
But I mean, he looked like a guy. He was dark, and he had a little bit of a beard and the whole thing. And I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention when she came in because I was serving food. And all of a sudden I look over and I see fishnet tights. And then I see the makeup. He was Dr. Frankenfurter. And she made him look exactly like that.
That's awesome.
And I thought, what happened to this masculine looking guy next to me? But people loved it. Of all the people being made up there, there were sexy women, there were not so sexy women, there was a pregnant lady being painted,
fun.
but they were taking pictures of him.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an iconic character.
So you have
iconic show.
50 people
50
signed up.
people
to
signed up.
audition.
And
You
I got to
doing
tell
that
you.
one, Cal?
No.
No, your church
I
would be
don't
okay.
really know the show. I've heard about it, but I get it confused with other shows.
You wouldn't confuse this.
That movie gave Tim Curry a name.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
A lot of names.
He was doing road shows and stage shows before that movie.
Wow. Well, I mean, it's going to be awesome. Though, I mean, I feel like every show I've been like, I'm so proud of this. I am.
Who is? Are you directing Rocky Horror?
Girl, I am tired. No,
Don't yell at me, woman.
Patrick Berries.
Okay.
So he's the musical director for Kiss Me Kate,
Right.
and he's directing Rocky Horror. I'm directing Christmas Carol.
And that has to be an absolute zoo, not Christmas Carol, but directing Rocky
yeah,
Horror.
yeah. I'm choreographing. I'm excited to be part of it, but not all of it.
Right.
But Patrick has some great ideas. He's very excited, and therefore I'm very
Is
excited.
your way of directing a musical the way it's typically done, where you do the chorus, you do all the musical people first, and then the dancers, and then you bring them all together?
No. Well, I also don't want to I don't know if you guys noticed, but I do try to be really respectful of people's time and make sure that not one person, especially in the beginning, is rehearsing more than 3 days a week. So while Patrick or I might have 4 or 5 rehearsals, an actor wouldn't. And because of that, it's not just music. But I do need. So what I did was I made sure that the 3 numbers that Patrick worked on week 1, I choreographed week 2 while he hit some other musical numbers week 2, and then I choreographed them week 3.
Right.
So it was a completely
When
different
does
learning curve.
everybody come together and see everybody? When did you all come together?
I think Friday night that's going to happen.
Seriously,
you think so? About 7:30ish.
99% of the cast was there for a read through for the first rehearsal.
Yeah, a table read.
And a table read.
Yeah.
But then I really didn't see anybody until the last couple weeks.
I was gonna say we started running the show June. I want to say it was June 19th. We started working
in its
through
entirety.
Yeah, so working through. We ran the show for the first time last week from top to bottom, and I got to tell you, after that, Patrick and I just looked at each other and we're like, "This is going to be amazing." Because
it's great.
The amount of work these people have put into it, the talent, the passion, it's beautiful.
As a matter of fact, last week when we started run-throughs, almost everybody in the cast is greeting me by name. How are you, Mark? I knew nobody's name because I had only rehearsed with Cal.
Yeah.
I knew who Mariah and Brandon were.
Because you're in scenes with them.
Because I'm in scenes with those two.
Yeah.
But whenever there was an ensemble rehearsal, you'd have Cal and I do it, and 15 minutes into rehearsal, we're sent home, which I work crazy hours, so it worked perfectly for me. But yeah, I felt guilty as all heck last week. I don't know any of these people's names, so this week I've learned.
Yeah, and the other thing that's interesting is on the flip side of that too, is that we weren't at some of the rehearsals early on, or people didn't see us. So, but they really, like I said, everybody's been so nice to me, and I saw somebody being nice. That one person. So yeah. I don't know his name, but
oh my!
Are these 2 men supposed to know each other?
Oh yeah.
Partners.
Well, I
literally
know that.
partners in crime.
We're partners in crime.
Yep.
I follow him around.
Okay.
It is.
You really do. You follow his lead.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He's got 35 lines. I got 23.
Oh.
And he counted.
Yes.
But I got a line added. I haven't taken it away. Then I got 2 lines added.
He mentioned this at Rotary the other night, and I had to tell him about Laverne and Shirley. Those 2 actresses hated each other.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Really?
And Penny Marshall's brother is the one that wrote this stuff.
Yes.
They would sit there and they would count lines, and if she didn't have equal to what Cindy Williams,
Cindy Williams
had, there would be hell to pay unset.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they
My
never
goodness.
got along.
I don't mind having less lines. Like
yes, you do. You've mentioned it everywhere.
But I got it on 6 index cards. I got all my lines, and so Mark, though, I feel bad for Mark because for every one of my lines, he's got 2, and so I remember what he has to say, and then, except for last night, one line, which I repeated twice, because his show's got to go on, and everybody's looking for a line, and
it's summer, and you have reruns in the summer.
Twice last night.
Yeah,
you repeated a line twice in the song,
yeah,
and you repeated a line twice in the scene.
So that's my default.
Oh my gosh.
There used to be a saying, at least when I was doing theater, that if you have a lousy dress rehearsal, you'll have a great opening.
That's always been that I've heard. Yeah, and like I was a
So
technician. when I
maybe
was
that
in
was,
school,
you
so,
know.
Yeah.
That usually comes. It's honestly why I don't love running the show too much. So, like what you guys saw is we
You
ran
kill
it.
the freshness
Yep.
of it.
We ran it once. Like while I had on the calendar last week, we were going to run it Tuesday and Wednesday. We only ran it Tuesday, and then we did fixes on Wednesday. The more times you run it without an audience, exactly, the less fresh it gets. The less, and you definitely need the feedback. So if you run the show too much time without feedback from an audience, you forget what the show is supposed to do.
I also remember what Cal said when he and I did love letters. He said, we got laughs I didn't expect we were going to get. You never know.
You never know.
And your audiences
Yep.
change from
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
day to the next.
Yeah, we'll see what the Baptists do on Saturday.
Yeah. They'll be sitting like, maybe you should pass a plate. They're used to that. You could do that at
Raise that
intermission.
$20,000 for lighting. you know?
Yeah, yes, exactly. That's what that's for.
But let me ask you a question, Nicole, though. The thing is, how do you deal with, and I'm thinking me, because every time we run it, I'm trying to react to what's happening and whatnot. And it may be different. Tonight may be different than tomorrow night. And there are some things that you may like and some things that you may not like. And again, since we haven't gone in the show, you might be given some notes to say, Cal, don't do that again. It was very ineffective. It was distracting or whatever. But what do you do? You know, every actor, especially if you have a bigger role, you really take liberties.
Yeah, well, so
Sorry.
no. That, I mean, this is what I love about live theater, right? It ebbs and flows, and every show is different. That being said, you still need to find a rhythm, because if you surprise your fellow actors on stage, things can go terribly, right? So there is absolutely a journey of like settling into your character that does happen, and finding choices based on audience reactions, absolutely, but you do really have to watch to make sure that you're not leaning into audience reactions, because it likely will not benefit the rest of the show. So I mean, that was not the answer you were looking for, but this, like, honestly, this is the time to try things. Friday night is not the time to try
Don't
things,
try
right?
them.
But to her defense, how many times has she asked us to do something? We interpreted it as something else. Oh, that's not what I said. Keep it in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. That's the
happened
collaboration.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Speaking of Friday night, that's when they open. We're going to close shortly.
Gotta go.
Because we got to switch and get our 4:00 lady in here.
So yeah, tickets are $30 to $35. You can get them at granitetheater.org or by calling the box office 401-596-2341. Ask anyone on the street. It's the place to be. Ask Cal. Ask Mark. Cal, why should people come see the show?
Because you're going to have a great time. You're going to be entertained and walk away saying, I'm glad I went.
Yes, Mark, why should people come see the show?
Quick.
It's quality theater. Westerly is a wonderful pocket of culture. We got a beautiful library, a beautiful park, a beautiful theater, some of the best blues music in the world.
Oh boy.
Westerly is a wonderful, wonderful cultural
Thank you,
pocket.
Mark.
Yay.
Okay.
I think you guys should just come into the theater.
Taking a break.
I think you guys should just come into the theater because it's too darn hot to be outside.
Thank you, Ben.
Yes, Ben. Okay, we're
And you can brush up on your Shakespeare.
Can't get us
I'm
out of here.
losing control. We'll see you guys on the flip side in about 5 minutes.
Game in a fun and meaningful way. Kiefer's Martial Arts on Granite Street has everything you're looking for.
And we're back again. Welcome into the second hour of Man About Town. We are a production of 321 Media. We are broadcasting or streaming live from downtown Westerly, Rhode Island. That's Connecticut, because we know you can see it. I was actually watching one of our shows the other day, and you literally can see beyond the fountain. And when you go beyond the fountain, there's a river there, and yes, then you're in Connecticut. This way beyond Andrew's Head, you can't see from where we are streaming right now. But we are back with one of the most interesting projects that is taking place in our area, and I don't think a lot of people know, and they need to know. We have with us Nick Batone, who is part of the Tarzan Brown Project. And you're going to hear more about Tarzan Brown from Nick and me, and from the lovely lady who's opposite him that a lot of people do know in town because she is a world famous sculptor who happens to live right in our area. And her name is Serena Bates. We're going to talk about her work. And I just finished doing a magazine article, and I mentioned in the magazine article that there was no way I could list all the awards she has won. And I told people, you need to go on her website, and she'll tell you what her website is when we get there. But you do need to go on, not just to see the awards she's won, but to see her work. It is beyond exceptional. So for those who don't know, whether they live in town here or whether they're across the country or across the world, because we stream worldwide, Nick, begin and tell people who Tarzan Brown was and what he meant to this area, and actually what he meant to running world.
It's a very good starting question, Rona. Tarzan Brown, as many, of course, runners know, is widely revered in this area, in this region, and actually known worldwide for his running prowess.
And let me just interrupt for 1 second. If you get Runner's World magazine, he is in the July issue. There was a big article. I went to the library and they didn't let me take it out because it was the only one. But I made copies and I used that. But with all the stuff that I'd learned from Serena and from members of your committee, there was stuff in there that I didn't know. So if you do get Runner's World or you want to look it up online, it's a fabulous article. Okay, back to you,
Yeah,
Nick.
no
Sorry.
problem. National and worldwide publication, to Runner's World, known all over the world and all over the country. And this is the legacy of Ellison Tarzan Brown. Tarzan was born right here in Westerly, up in the Potter Hill area of this fine town. And he was also a Narragansett Indian, which really it gives them a lot of, in my opinion, status, because they were a people who really had to earn everything, and Tarzan was no exception to that. He was, a very gifted individual, very athletic. He got the name Tarzan from his ability to do acrobatics in trees. And they ended up, his nickname and tribal name was Ellison Tarzan Brown. But one thing he could also do was run. And the story begins really pretty basically with, actually, there's a gentleman also known in town-wide, who everybody, I'm sure you probably even remember him, Thomas Tippy Salameno Sr.
I didn't know him, but
Okay.
I spoke with his son.
Exactly.
For the story.
And his son is
And I
is
heard the story
99
you're about
years
to
young.
tell.
Isn't that amazing? But his
Yes.
father was Tarzan's first coach.
Yes.
And Tommy actually was training another Indian chief. His name was Horatio Stanton, for a road race. And there was this young guy staying right behind him, chugging his best, trying his hardest, staying right up with him. And Mr. Salameno took note of that. And
He was 14 at the time.
he was 14 years
Yeah.
old at the time, and he was amazed by this young man's ability to be able to run with this older gentleman who was a chief of a tribe that was, practicing for a road race, and he was taken by it. So he took Tarzan under his wing when he was 16 years old and began to train him. And the legacy, that's how his legacy began, because he won races one after another. He was an incredible figure in road racing circles. He was tireless, actually. I mean, I've always said, and this is just my opinion, that he was way ahead of his time for the time that he raced, which is back in the 30s. Okay, and he actually his times were remarkable for back then, because you have today, as everybody knows, modern technology that comes into the sport of running also.
Comes
And-
into everything.
Yeah, exactly. And Tarzan exhibited those tendencies way back then, which is what makes this so incredible. He won, well, actually, he ran Boston a number of times, but the first time he ran, he finished 13th. And when he showed up to race, he was in hand-me-down clothes, broken down sneakers, the whole 9 yards of just not looking like a runner.
I'm gonna jump in
Yeah,
again
sure,
here,
go ahead.
only because I'm so smart
No,
because I read
awesome.
the
Go ahead,
article.
yeah.
Believe me. Yeah, everything you've said is exact.
Mm.
But when he showed up to race, his mother had died 3 days before, and part of his outfit was patched from one of his mother's
Good
dresses.
point, Rona. Exactly. Yeah.
And
You're right.
a lot of people wouldn't be able to do
Mhm.
anything, much less run the Boston
Mhm.
Marathon for the first
Mhm.
time.
And he actually finished in 13th position in that race. Now, there weren't a lot of runners back then, but there were quite a few. And Tarzan actually, up until about 21 miles, he ran with those broken down sneakers, but they started to bother his feet. He took them off and ran the last 5 miles barefoot and finished the race.
And came in 13th.
Yeah, and came in
Have
13th
they never
place.
done it
I mean,
before?
it was remarkable. And of course, the following year in 1936, he won Boston.
Yes, he did.
And of course, you also know from probably reading Runner's World and everything else how Heartbreak Hill got its name.
Yes.
He
But
was
the
very
people
yeah.
out there didn't. So I think you
Yeah.
should tell them,
Well,
because I never knew that. And
Yeah.
everybody hears
Yeah.
Heartbreak Hill
Mhm.
at the marathon.
Because when you talk to people about the Boston Marathon, the first thing that'll come to mind is, oh, Heartbreak Hill. Yeah, I heard of that. I heard of that. They don't realize that this gentleman played a very key role in Heartbreak Hill.
He's
And-
the reason it was named that.
Yeah, this is the reason it was named. And what happened was Tarzan took off on the field in 1936. He started at a blistering pace, and nobody could answer it. And he was all by himself. Even the media didn't know he was leading the race. Okay. So Johnny Kelly, the great Johnny, who won Boston 3 times, Johnny A. Kelly, this is, because there's John J. from Mystic also, but John A., who won Boston 3 times, was in the field naturally, and he tracked down Tarzan, and he was able to catch up with him late in the race in the Newton Hills. And he came up behind Tarzan and surprised him, and came up behind him figuring, well, I think I've caught him. He's spent. I can take it from here and win my 4th Boston. Not to be. He patted Tarzan on the back as if to say, nice job, son. I'll take it from here. Tarzan looked at him and took off. He found a magical 6th gear that just nobody else had. And the two of them battled all the way to the finish. With, I think Tarzan was on the downhills, Johnny was on the uphills. They were going back and forth, back and forth. Finally, Tarzan got up ahead of steam right before the finish and left him in the dust. And that's
And Kelly came in 5th.
Yeah,
Didn't
and
come in 2nd.
yeah, and the gentleman who wrote for the Boston Globe, Jerry Nason, is actually the one who came up with the name, because that's where he felt Tarzan broke Johnny's heart. Thus the name Heartbreak Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
great story. It really
Mhm.
is.
But just to continue, he's, his legacy isn't just that. He was absolutely magical. He was on the 36 Olympic team. Now, if people remember history, one of the great stars on that Olympic team was the great Jesse Owens. Tarzan was a teammate of Jesse Owens. And he ran in that marathon and ended up with cramping. And unfortunately, the media treated him rough for it. So you know what he did to answer the media? He won successive races in 2 days.
Yeah, one weekend.
Yeah, in the same weekend. He won a race in New York, caught a ride to New Hampshire, and won another marathon on successive days. And both times he was well under the 3-hour time, that everybody tries to break 3. He was well under it both times. He also was the first runner to break the 2:30 mark in the Boston Marathon. His magic is beyond belief. I mean, he's always been a hero of mine, and this is what inspired me to run, because I've been involved in the sport. Like, I raced competitive for 22 years. A lot of it was because of Tarzan and the legacy that he created in Westerly.
Did you ever get close to beating his times?
Oh, yeah, I was my best. I did run Boston back when bandits were allowed, back in 1983.
When
I wasn't an
bandits
official
were
entry,
Oh,
but I actually ran 3:24:32. So I was breaking. I wanted to break 3.5. I was able to do it, but nowhere near what this gentleman got. Tarzan's best marathon was 2:27.
God.
And that's comparable to today's 2:03s, 2:04s. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking back in the 30s.
And back then, you didn't have people from Kenya. They seemed to win every year.
That was it was more
And
more of a you're right.
They were mostly Americans.
Mostly American race. Of course, there were some. There were certain ones
Germans,
from. I'm trying to think. Finland. Come to mind. There were some guys who were able to get there. Of course, they had to take back then. It was the airlines weren't, Delta, and
Right.
they managed to get to the starting line. But for the most part, yeah, many great Americans. Another American, Rhode Islander, who won Boston, 3 or 4 times, was from Pawtucket, Les Pawson, and he was one of Tarzan's rivals in the marathon back then. And of course, John A. Kelly. There was a gentleman from Canada. They had a fraternity of terrific runners, and Tarzan was one of them.
Yeah, he certainly was. So now let's talk about where Serena Bates comes in.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Serena, as you know, is an award-winning sculptor, and just doing a fabulous job for all of us in terms of, actually I have a bigger
Do you
picture.
have the photos that you
Do you
can
have
put
the
up?
photos, Andrew, that you can bring up? Yeah.
What you're going to see now is not her prior work. You're going to see the work in progress, what she is doing now, because this project is they want a life-size bronze sculpture of Tarzan Brown right here, not here. We're a little cramped for room, but here where he came from. So are you able to, I don't know if you can split the screen or, I see one.
They're up.
Yeah.
I've been cycling through them.
Okay, can you get closer? I mean, can you get more of a close-up? Maybe it is close-up to people watching.
There you go. Yeah, very good there.
I'll show you that.
Excellent depiction, though. Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's
Yep.
slowly evolving. You build it from the inside out, muscle per muscle. So he's skinny, he's getting bigger and bulkier.
Are you able to get Serena, or she need to get closer to her mic or pull the mic closer?
Yeah, if you want to scoot your chair up a hair.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. There we go.
Having been in her studio a couple of times, it's like going into a biology class, because she has books and photographs of muscles, of tendons. You used your own son because his build was a lot like Tarzan's.
Yeah, like models.
And so she is working with stuff that you would see in a lab almost.
The only thing I don't have is a skeleton. I really want a skeleton.
You want to speak into that mic.
I really would like a skeleton, but I have anatomical figures I work with and models and a lot of anatomy books just to make sure everything's correct in the running position. Runners.
Facial expression.
Yeah, well, I did the head separately. The head is actually removable because when the foundry comes to make the casting, they're going to cut limbs off and the head off. It'll be easier for transport.
All right, now you got to explain. You have to explain that because the first time you told me the foundry was coming to cut off the head and the arms, I'm thinking, then why did you put them on there? Why are they coming? Why don't you explain the process
Okay.
like you did to me?
Okay. Well, you start out with a wire skeleton. It's called an armature, and we did a small model to get the feel for the pose, but then we had to enlarge it. So it's 67 inches tall, and it has to be reinforced. We get it into position, and then it's got to be reinforced with plaster and burlap to withstand the weight of all the clay we're going to put on. And then there's different supports that are put on, and then it's building it from the inside out with clay, muscle per muscle per muscle. Right now, I'd say I'm up to 260 pounds of clay and materials. So that is why it's, and then if we're going to transport it to a foundry all the way in Pawtucket, they're going to cut it up anyway to cast the pieces together, separately and put it together. Makes sense to do it in the studio so nothing's going to get damaged, because things could warp, things could move in a truck ride on the way.
And the infrastructure of the roads here is not wonderful.
Yeah.
Here.
It just makes more sense, and they're going to professionally take it apart. So the head, I had made it so it would be detachable to make it easy. So that way I could work at it at eye level because I'm a little on the short side, and then I could put it in place.
Wow, a lot goes into
Amazing,
this.
yeah.
Oh, you have no idea. I mean, she is seeing what she's got there. And then when she was explaining it to me so I could write about it, I said, we got to dumb it down a little more because it is so detailed and so
the
intricate.
lost wax process, and a lot of people don't really understand what the bronzing process is. You don't dip baby shoes into bronze because they will disintegrate. You take your piece and make it in this oil-based clay, never gets hard. Then they make a rubber mold from it. In the rubber mold, we make a wax copy. The wax copy gets into a porcelain slurry. We make a porcelain mold, and then the bronze gets poured into that. It's all in different pieces, and it's cut up, put back together, welded, chased. It's just a massive amount of labor, especially for something this big. And it's got to be structurally sound and engineering so it could, be able to stand up. And so many hands go into it.
So if you are all wondering right now, what does something like this cost? Now I throw it back to Nick, because that's a good part of the reason that they're here, because it takes a lot and we need a lot of people's help.
And the costs keep going up.
Yeah. The artistry, of course, ain't cheap. And this statue, upon completion, is going to be in the range of $60,000.
Right.
Yep. Exactly. And you've seen the progression. I mean, this lady's fantastic, for one thing. And
when did you actually start this? Last year?
This actually started probably about a year ago. Probably about a year ago now. We met at a residence, one of our steering committee, whom I will mention because we're all in this together. But at any rate, our first meeting was a small one that took place at the residence of Joe Pellegrino, who, by the way, designed the website, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
And he, myself, Larry Hirsch, who was Larry. I mean, we have runner credentials. I mean, it's not just me as a competitive runner. You had Larry Hirsch, who, by the way, Runner's World did a story on him because he was a nationally ranked master in his day. And of course, Larry did everything. He was a boxer. I mean, he did it all.
He was one of the first people I met when I came here, because he and I are both alumni of Syracuse. So
Definitely.
we had that in common. But I think he ran when he was ahead of me at Syracuse.
Yeah, and
I think he ran for the school.
Yeah,
then.
but his, it's kind of like a ladder type of involvement because he boxed. He was in all kinds of different athletic activities, and he took up running at an older age and just was fabulous. I mean, he ended up being nationally ranked in his age group as a master, and Runner's World did a story on him. But another one, I mean, we have some runners. Another guy I'd love to talk about is Jimmy Hurst. He is beyond reproach. He's very humble, but this gentleman was a fabulous runner. He actually ran with another terrific runner who was known running wide named George Gardner around the entire perimeter of Rhode Island for charity. That was
Really?
over 200 miles. Jimmy Hurst did that. I mean, we have some
Wow.
heavy duty runners on this committee. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
think so.
but also our steering committee also includes members of Tarzan's family. Byron Brown, Manny Brown, who was a lieutenant in the Westerly Police Department for many
Right.
years.
And
Summer,
a tribal chief.
yeah, and Summer Gonzalez, who's Tarzan's great niece. She's also on the steering committee. Somebody I'm sure you know, Steve Green is our
Yes.
financial advisor. Of course, he's the husband of Betty Jo
Yes.
Virginia Green. And, you know, Betty Jo's been helping us out. You've been helping us. This is just a fabulous community effort because her show's been involved. Your show's involved. Ken and the guys. I mean, we've been on everything with this thing. And this is how it's become such a big movement in Westerly. And I credit all of these gentlemen. I mean,
So,
great job.
Nick, if people who are watching say, you know, I only have $10 that I could donate, but I think it's so worthwhile, how do they do it?
Actually, you can do it several ways. If you go to the website, I don't know if and I don't know, is there some way we can do something with this, Andy?
Oh, I can just hold it up to the
Yeah.
camera.
There's that gives
There's
you
a
the
QR code on there.
yeah, yep. That gives you information to reach the website and all parts of the website. It tells you
He can type right on there,
Yeah.
and it'll
okay.
and then
The
it'll be
following
right on
the following
screen.
ways are possible on this, and you have to go to the total website. But we have PayPal for one thing. GoFundMe
Yes.
is also involved on the website, and you can also they also take checks, and like you mentioned earlier, Rona, anything, $1, $5, little kids putting some, having even a lemonade stand, anything. All of that money is going to go towards the completion of this statue and the total payment for the statue. And the website, of course, is TarzanBrownMemorialFund.org. Is all
Say
you have
it
to.
again a little slower.
I've got it on the,
good.
on the
Yep.
screen there.
Great.
Okay, yep.
Okay.
So it's TarzanBrownMemorialFund.org will take you to the complete website, which once again was masterfully designed by Joe Pellegrino. Now, Joe has quite a taking in Westerly also. He's a former town manager in Westerly.
Right.
These are all familiar names, big names that are doing a big job to get this legendary American Indian, Westerly born Ellison Tarzan Brown dedicated statue for perpetuity.
We need to take a break now, but I just want to throw in, it was not easy being, back then they didn't say indigenous. He was an Indian, and they were discriminated against so badly they weren't even considered citizens for a long time. And one of the things that I read was the state of Rhode Island, which is nothing to be proud of, did not let them vote till 1954. So it's time we did something really great. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with Serena Bates. We'll be back with Nick Patone. And we're going to be talking more about what Serena does. She's got some openings coming up, and you can find out about that. And also, we'll talk again about how you can, even if it's just a little bit, just that much, it all helps. This is Man About Town, and we'll be back shortly.
Game in a fun and meaningful way. Kiefer's Martial Arts on Granite Street has everything you're looking for. Kickboxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and of course, adult karate. It's not just about getting fit, it's about building your self-confidence, discipline, and that unstoppable feeling you get from all your hard work. Stop into Kiefer's Martial Arts today to sign up.
Are you looking for a fresh cut in Westerly? Step in a Rio's Barber Shop in Granite Plaza. Whether it's a classic trim or a trendy new look, we've got you covered. Experience the perfect cut for every age and style in a friendly and relaxed atmosphere. At Rio's, it's not just a haircut, it's an experience. Visit Rio's Barber Shop in the Granite Plaza in Westerly or give us a call to schedule your appointment at 401-315-2208. Your style, our craft, Rio's Barber Shop.
At Dime Bank, we're all about community. It's who we are. Local communities made up of customers, families, and friends. Business owners invested in helping their communities thrive. Dedicated employees committed to giving back in ways that go beyond banking. If your banking relationship leaves you wanting more, come join our community. It's your bank, your choice, your dime.
Hi, I'm AJ Truck.
And I'm Jeff Swiderski with AnnieMac Home Mortgage's Momentum Group, your trusted partner in the home buying process.
At AnnieMac, we can strengthen your offer with our innovative program, Cash to Keys, giving you a competitive edge by allowing you to make a cash offer on your new home.
Together, we've helped over 1,000 families move into their dream homes, and we'd love to do the same for you.
Give us a call today at 401-486-0853 to get started.
Wood River Health is my home for health.
Wood River Health is a one-stop shop for primary medical care, dental care, behavioral health, and social services. We care for the members of our community because they are our community. I'm Allison Croak, President and CEO of Wood River Health. Since 1976, our health center has provided high-quality, affordable health care to residents of Rhode Island and southeastern Connecticut. We are your neighborhood health center. Let us be your home for health.
I am Jim Howe. My practice is focused on representing people injured in car accidents, representing people injured in premises liability, represent people in all walks of life. I say all the time that I represent the underdog, and by the underdog I mean the person who is injured and is facing lawyers that are hired by insurance companies. If you unfortunately find yourself injured in an automobile collision or in any other circumstance where insurance may come into play, think of giving me a call.
Hi, I'm Neil Anthus, owner of Sound Financial Partners. We're a full-service financial planning practice dedicated to optimizing your investment, tax, and cash flow strategies. As fiduciaries, we always keep our advisory clients' best interest in mind when making recommendations. Whether you're preparing for retirement or growing your business, we're here to help you achieve your financial goals. Ready to start your journey to financial success? Visit us at our Wesley office or give us a call at 401-642-4333.
We're back. Everybody's so surprised. We're back. We made it. Thanks to Andrew.
Before we get going again, I have to say this at some point. I have known Nick Batone, or rather, he's probably known me since I was born. He's probably held me as a baby. Nick's a stand-up guy and a family friend for years, so I was shocked when he came in here. I was not expecting to see Nickel here.
But did he have you running when you were a kid?
No, he couldn't get that.
Couldn't do it.
He didn't have that type of influence.
But that's the thing about Westerly. I mean, everybody's from here.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's related to everybody.
He made movies with my dad.
Yep.
Wow.
And of course, what a beautiful family, the Fiore family.
Oh, I know
I mean,
some of them.
good grief, I'm telling
I
you.
will.
Yeah.
I was saying to someone that in August I will have been here 39 years, and I was saying that to a woman, and she said to me, "Oh, but so you're not from here?" And I said, "But I've been here 39 years next month." She said to me, "Did you go to school here to Westerly?" I said, "No." "Did you go to church here?" "No." "How many children do you have?" "None." "Are you Italian?" I said, "No." She's, "You're not from here. Maybe in another 10 years you'll be accepted." So, but Serena, and didn't say it earlier, and I should have. Serena, our sculptor, was born and raised here. And you got a big weekend coming up. Tell people where they can meet you in person.
Well, I have a couple of shows coming up on Friday from 5 to 8 in New London, the new art gallery, The Local. My friend Susan McKay runs it. I'll be with some lovely ladies from Lime Academy. We have an opening there. And on Saturday night, I have an opening at Lily Pad Gallery in Watch Hill from 5:30 to 8. So if you come down and want to talk to me about the project or just see my work or see some wonderful art, that would be wonderful.
Maybe Taylor Swift will walk down the hill. She lives in Watch Hill.
Her dad watches through Joy Media.
Yeah, it would be wonderful. Come
Scott?
down and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
I do good portraits.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I have seen your sculptures of animals. I love the ones of the animals. You have one in the window on High Street. I've seen them everywhere. And when you go on her website, which is serenabates.com, correct?
serenabates.com.
If you go on that, you can see all sizes, all types, where they are. And they are literally all over the world, predominantly US and Canada. I know that.
And especially a plug for my foundries. I use Boccaccio and Canton. They do my larger stuff, but I have a wonderful foundry in Florence, Italy, who cast all my smaller works. So I just got 4 elephants in, and they'll be in my shows this weekend.
Great. I actually, for this magazine article I did on this project, I looked up Boccaccio, and they are in Massachusetts, and the work they have done and their workers and how they handle pieces and how they dress, because they're handling great art. And we are so lucky. We have a great runner here, not you. Yeah, you were, but no, we had a great runner in Tarzan Brown who really put us on the map, and yet so many people never heard of him. And that's what this is going to do. And a local who's not Italian, though.
Oh, I am Italian.
You are?
I'm half Italian. The other half is my
That's why they let you live
Irish,
here.
English, German.
Oh.
But now the big debate is, what is he going to be running barefoot or with shoes? Because in one he was barefoot, but he was known for running barefoot. So
I think he should be barefoot.
I think it would be fun.
For all the research I did, he absolutely should be. He also, because your group gave me so many pictures and so much information. He actually did run some races wearing his headdress at times, and that could not have been easy.
That's on the
because
inset.
they're fairly.
See the inset there?
Yeah. Now I don't know if
future project.
I don't know, Nick, if you can Nick. I don't know, Andrew, if you can get that up, that little inset picture of him wearing a tribal headdress.
I'm dying to do that bust.
Oh yeah. I mean that would there you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now he's actually in a race at that point. I mean, this guy, if you're listening to us, watching us anywhere other than this area, you can just type that into your computer. You don't have to type in Ellison, type in Tarzan,
It's an
Tarzan
absolute
Brown.
treasury
You
of
will get
his
so
history.
much
Oh, yeah.
information.
Or we could do this.
Wikipedia.
What are we
especially.
doing?
Yeah.
Pulling up the pictures of them.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
you
he's in
can,
this
you
new
can
stuff.
get
Oh, yeah,
literally
look at all
hundreds
that.
of pictures.
Well,
Well,
we
we put it up first.
yeah. And some of those pictures are right during the Boston Marathon. I recognize them. He did win 2 marathons, 1936 and 1939.
39,
Yep.
correct.
Yeah.
And I was just in Boston dropping off at Copley yesterday, and I went to see right in Copley Square the big granite memorial for the runners, and I found his name. I said, "I make sure I gotta find his name." His
Great.
wife listed.
Oh, look, is that him as a little kid?
This is him and his son, Sonny.
Yeah,
in his
that's his
headdress.
boy.
Now there's a
That's him.
picture I
That's
had
a
not
great
seen.
picture. I didn't see that one.
And there he is right in the race.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That was a 36, I believe, marathon.
Wow.
Was it? 81. Yep.
Is that the one he beat John?
That's
Johnny
when he.
Kelly.
That's where Heartbreak Hill got
And
his
he had
name. The
barefoot.
36
And that's
Boston.
him with his
Yeah.
mother, correct?
It says Ethel. I'm not sure.
Oh,
That's his
Ethel.
dad.
That's
That's his
Benny's.
wife. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But these are impressive pictures, and you, like I said, anyone like you said, Ron, can go online and just see the treasury of this brilliant Indian. He was
And
absolutely
that's why we
magical.
are so
Yep.
proud.
Yep.
And this is has been so long in coming.
Mhm. Oh,
was it never thought of before, or no one wanted to form a
I've-
committee?
you
or
know,
was
it kind of like, I believe Tarzan's family always had it in the making, but it never quite got to fruition because they wanted a statue, because John A. Kelly has a statue at Heartbreak Hill. Now, the city of Boston, it's kind of weathered and they don't maintain the area where the statue is. So they're hoping somehow that someday that can be righted so that both statues, because he deserves one right next to Johnny, because
Sure.
he's actually the reason that Johnny heart was broken.
It'd be cool
Those
to have
Heartbreak
them
Hill.
juxtaposition, like
Exactly.
It would be
yeah.
great if
Yeah.
he had
Yep.
Johnny's
Yep.
hand on his
Yeah.
rear,
Oh,
like
that
he
would be a good
he
Mhm.
gave him that tap. I'll take it from
like
here,
I
kid.
said, he was truly magical. It's the best way to describe him.
Yeah.
And so far ahead of his time as a runner. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had, from what I read, he had a good sense of humor. He liked kids. He liked working with them.
He was a terrific family man, beautiful dad, a great husband. He actually sold a lot of his medals, like you said, because of
to
the
put food on the
to
table.
put food on
Yeah.
the table for his family and to pay the bills. He was
Yeah.
that type of an individual. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he worked, and a lot of his jobs that I read, he was a stonemason.
Also,
And
correct.
I'm trying to remember the other one, something to do with fireplace. Well, that stonemason would have been
Yeah,
fireplace.
well, his
but that's what gave him his strength.
one of his great nephews, I believe, is the one who made the memorial in Wilcox Park for Tarzan. Redid that memorial. It's on the far side of Wilcox.
Oh, I
on
was
the
there.
Other side of the park, and of course, we were all at that dedication too.
Yeah.
But we want to go that one extra step to give him a statue,
Yeah.
a commemorative statue. Yeah.
And people can help doing what?
If
Why
they ca-
don't you
okay,
reiterate?
once again, the website that my friend Andrew, of course, my good buddy, what a great family, the Fioris. I got to keep putting that in there. At any rate, TarzanBrownMemorialFund.org, of course, will get you to the website. We have PayPal, GoFundMe. You can use either of those, and also we have Tarzan's great niece is handling the check
Summer.
end. If anybody wants to write a check,
Right.
you can go to Tarzan Brown Memorial Fund, care of Summer Gonsalves. That's Tarzan's great niece. And 9 Aurora Avenue, Cranston, Rhode Island, 02905.
That's
Those
all
are
on the
three-
website.
That's
so
all
you
on the
don't
website.
have to worry
It's
about
all
that.
there. Okay.
Right.
So she's handling the check end, and PayPal and GoFundMe are handling the other monetary end, and we have it all. We have it all under control. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. That is terrific. When do you anticipate having his head cut off so he can go to the foundry?
well, I am starting to hone in on details and muscle groups. I'm trying to, get it as close as I can, and I'm hoping within the next 3 weeks. So
Wow, that's
I'm
soon.
hoping. The prices keep increasing, so I don't want it to take too long to get to the foundry. We've been 2 months in right now, maybe slightly more than 2 months, but the longer we wait, the higher the price. So, 'cause,
Sure.
with everything going on in the world right now. So I'm hoping within the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, fortunately, your foundry's here, not overseas
Yes,
somewhere.
Yeah, no.
So
And
they're not
wonderful.
subject to the tariff, but materials are.
It's a lot of it's labor too.
Yeah.
Labor, that skilled labor is expensive. So, and the cost of transporting such a large piece too. So
Now it'll be his full height,
Yes.
which was what? How?
60.
He was 5'7", I believe. He was relatively short.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a small man.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've called my son more than once. He's the same height. Michael, get over here.
And I don't know. She said it kind of quickly before, but I don't know if you all noticed when she said, "I have to hone in on the muscle groups." She's not kidding. When you are in her studio, you literally can see like the ripples of muscles on the back and going all the way down the body. It's just
And
amazing.
bone articulation, like if something's turning, like where the muscles are
Mhm.
pulling and pronating and supinating, you have to make it look believable. Everything's got to connect to something.
You also told me when I was at the studio one day that you had gone to when you were working with, I think, the people in Old Lyme, when you were studying all this, or maybe when you were at RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, you had actually gone and seen dead bodies.
Our field trip was to a morgue, and we saw dead cadavers.
cadavers,
Dean Keller, I studied with Dean Keller, God bless his soul, at Lyme Academy, and we had an A crochet class, which literally is you have a skeleton and you're building it from the inside out with muscles to learn origin, insertion, whatever. But he wanted us to see how, like, if you pull a tendon, what happens, and just to see when the skin's off, the muscle.
Some people take field trips to the zoo.
I know.
You went to the morgue.
We went to the morgue.
Yeah.
But I was studying to be a painter and a draftsman back then. So I was learning how to paint and draw. And I tried this sculpting thing. I said, you got to be crazy. This is expensive and time consuming. But as soon as I said, this is where my heart was. I said I had to dive right in. It's not for the weak at heart. It's expensive. It's laborious. You're not going to have nice nails. It's just,
You're going to have a lot of patience, though, to do what you do.
Yep. You have
Gifted.
to just, you got to see from 3 dimensions all the way around.
The other thing I've got to ask you about, because I've got it in my brain, but I can't remember the context. You said that everybody's got 8 heads.
Oh, well, there's certain, well, when you're doing any figure, there are certain canons of measurements. So
That was it. It was part of the canons of measurement.
Yeah. So, like, if you have nowhere to start, and obviously there's differences, but like somebody posthumously, I would think the size of your head should go into your body 8 times. The distance between your clavicle to your shoulders, head, 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 head. So your head is it is a unit of measure. So and
everybody, so whether they're like 4 foot something like you are, or 6'3", there's still 8 heads.
There's anomalies sometimes for extra, but for the most part, yes. The children are slightly different, but like if you don't have any idea where to start, so you have a 67-inch figure, divide it in half. That's your halfway mark, and divide that in half again, and then you get the heads going so many times.
It makes you think the next
it's a
time.
mathematical engineering.
The next time you look, and I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to them, at a sculpture. Keep these things in mind, that this wasn't just thrown up there, that these people do so much that goes into it.
Like the size of your hand should be the size of your head. It's like your head is a really good, God knew what he was doing.
Wow.
I make the sign of the cross. I say, God, let me remember all my anatomy today.
Why don't you tell people again where they can meet you this weekend?
Okay.
Will you have any Tarzan pictures with you or any information?
No, but I can bring some. I will bring flyers, but you can obviously see my work at serenabates.com, and I have the flyer posted there.
And Serena is spelled Serena.
Bates, like Norman, BATES.com.
Like Norman.
Yeah, Norman Bates.
Yeah.
But I have 2 openings this weekend. On Friday night, we're in New London at a gallery called The Local, and it's right across from the Hygienic. It's me and 3 other lovely ladies we all graduated Lyme Academy, a glass artist, Catherine Gibson, Eleanor Tamsky, a painter, myself, the sculptor, and Susan McKay. She is the manager of the gallery. Wonderful work. And the other one is going to be at the Lily Pad in Watch Hill on Saturday night, 5 to 8. We come have some wonderful hors d'oeuvres and wine and talk to me and see some beautiful artwork.
Very good. Nick, back to you.
Okay, back to me. I do
have
have a couple of more things for you,
Please.
Rona. And of course, we all know this wonderful lady who's really giving us a big push with our movement. The president of the Ocean Community Chamber, Lisa Kanicki.
She's here.
Fantastic. I'm telling you, what she's doing for us is she's taking this flyer. Now, as you know, there are about 900 businesses members of the ocean community.
Oh,
Every
it's-
single
it's gonna
business
go on
is
the
going to get
mailer.
one of these flyers
Yes.
to make them aware of what's going on.
Yes.
That's going to give us a huge amount of help. So I have to commend Lisa also. Great job there.
Yes, she is terrific.
Mhm.
And then locations, we could talk about possible
Yeah,
locations.
exactly. Yeah. No doubt about it. I mean, just to be able to, get this kind of enthusiasm pretty much from influential people in the entire town of Westerly, I couldn't be happier. It's really fabulous what's going
Do
on.
you have a cutoff date for getting the money in? And
Right now, technically speaking, we are at 41,000 of a total of 60,000. So we're
So
still
you're
working toward
two-thirds
that
of the way to
total.
go.
Yeah. Yep. So we have another good portion to pick up. But like I said, movements like what Lisa has done here, I'm sure it's going to give us a tremendous amount of help. We're looking into fundraising, any type of thing like restaurants, 10% of the earnings going to the fund, all kinds of different stuff like that. We're in hot pursuit to try and get to the figure as
That's
quickly as
great.
possible. Yeah.
I know. I mean, I'm just going to throw this out because he's done it for so many different organizations. Mario's North End. You might want to go talk to him.
Definitely,
He
yeah.
will. He did a night for the Granite Theater. He did a night for the Chamber. He did a night for, I believe, the Rotary Club. He's
Mhm.
done it for a number of different
Mhm.
organizations. So you might, no,
Yeah.
the Lions. That's what
Mhm.
it was.
Mhm.
You might want to go talk to him.
Thank you. Very valuable information. And thank you, dear lady. Awesome. Yeah.
I know that a few of them at the beach did the same thing, but I think they did that before July 4th. Right now, the beach is more than humming. We know that.
Mhm.
Okay, so I thank both of you for being here. Let's talk about next week. Next week, I am going to tell you where Andrew and I are going to be. Well, I'll give you a little hint because I don't know 100%, but this will be our last Man About Town in this studio. Our owner and founder and his partner have taken over, or they will as of the 1st of August, a private home not too far from here, walking distance from here, still in downtown Westerly. And that will be the new home of 321 Media. I saw a video, there are space for 3 studios, not one, 3 studios. There's a reception area. There is an office space. There's a parking lot. And we will be in there as of August 1st. Moving will take place at the end of July. But in the meantime, it takes a long time to move equipment and unhook everything. So when I spoke with Ben earlier this morning, he said, well, for the next 2 weeks, we should go somewhere on location and we will stream from there. And I came up with an idea and Ben liked it. We're going to be with the movie guy. It's his week anyway, next week, Bill Doherty from the Mystic Luxury Cinemas, South County Cinemas, the cinema in Madison, Connecticut, and also in Westbrook, Connecticut. We are going to be doing the show either from the Mystic Luxury Cinema lobby or from South County, their lobby. Bill's supposed to call me tonight at home. He was going to be talking with his partner and figure out where, but we will be streaming live. You'll be meeting some of the people that work there, his managers. He'll be giving away movie passes as he always does. You'll be invited to come in if you're in the area, just like you are when Bill is at the Navigant Credit Union with us. So as we get more information, we'll give it to you throughout the week. But Man About Town will still be on at 3:00 next Wednesday. We're just not sure if we're coming from South Kingstown, Rhode Island, or Mystic, Connecticut. So I will say what I say to everybody every week. Be well, be safe, but take a risk. I always say that. Just don't do it on the highway and don't do it anywhere near my Nissan Altima. But when I say take a risk, some of the best things in my life have happened because I took a risk. Do they all work out? No, they don't. But if you never try, you never know. You might be the next sculptor. You might be the next runner. You might be the next producer, because I've had a lot of them. But we will see you next week on Man About Town. We're a production of 321 Media. Be well. Have a good week.